Swing and a drive. Right field and deep. Back goes Aquino. It's got a chance. Gone. Get out the tape measure. Long gone.
Fly the W!
Cubs fans, it's time to fly the W with Dustin Rhodes and Paul Crawly Jean.
This is the Fly the W podcast. It is season number 4. It's episode 63. Which Cubs will return in 2026? We, of course, are part of the Blue Wire Network, and we ask you not to forget to listen. We ask you not to forget to download. We ask you to subscribe, and most importantly, we want you to review the podcast. Follow on all the socials. You can check me out on Mully and Haw on X.
You can follow me at Crawly's Cubs on X, Blue Sky and TikTok, and Crawly's Clubhouse on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and right here on YouTube. You can email us at crawlysclubhouse@gmail.com.
Well, Crawly, as we are recording this and going live, the World Series is on the verge of game number 4. We had an epic game number 3 last night. We will talk about that, but we are here to talk about the Cubs, Crawly, on the Fly the W podcast. And let's start out by kicking around what this team looks like in 2026 and beyond. There are some for sures. There are some guys that we know will be back, but there are guys on expiring contracts. There are guys who have options, and we're trying to figure out what the Cubs might be doing behind the scenes, or what we would be doing if we were running the Cubs.
Yeah, Dustin, it's really bizarre because of the next year kind of being like a lame duck season before these, big CBA expires. And what I think most people are anticipating is a lockout of some type. But I'm wondering how much Jed has this lined up. When you take a look at the players and the contracts and when everything expires, it's really crazy. And obviously we're not the only ones that notice it. The media asked Jed the other day about this situation. Here's what he said.
There's an element that's by design for sure. I think that you've seen the way we've structured a lot of these contracts, I think has been shorter, and I think that's been by design. With that, I think it comes opportunity that we have opportunity to use those dollars really wisely to continue to get better. So I don't look at it as a cause for concern. I try to look at it as an opportunity that we have available dollars in the future that we haven't committed yet, and we just need to continue to commit those dollars wisely as we do commit them.
Yeah, we talk about windows, and we talk about those, and on you can hear from all reference all of the contracts to expire in 25 when this season, and contract that expire in 2026. When you take a look who's left in 2027. It's really just a handful of guys. It comes down to Dansby Swanson. It comes down to Pete Crow Armstrong, Michael Busch, and Matt Shaw. And so and when it comes to pitchers, it's even less. And so you're looking at this and you're kind of trying to play with this and try to figure out, what's going to happen here. So the following Cubs are set to be unrestricted free agents. Some we can assume will be shown the door and we're not going to be crying too much, but others, Dustin, were key contributors, and you have to make a decision whether or not you want to bring these back. A lot of these guys, sometimes you luck out, but they were there on 1-year deals, right? And Jed sometimes does a good job with bullpen pieces, and other times it's very hit or miss. And Jed's not the only one like that. But when we take a look at some of the guys that, I think are probably not coming back, Willie Castro, Carlos Santana,
gone.
Taylor Rogers,
gone.
Ryan Brazier,
gone.
Aaron Savali,
gone.
Michael Soroka,
gone.
Okay,
we
so
agree
all
on
those,
something, Crawly. We agree on all of those names. Gone, and gone.
I could see potentially Aaron Savali as a potential, but with Willie Castro, he was supposed to be the utilities player with speed, but the Cubs burned through 3 of those besides him this season. You remember John Birdie?
I do.
Vidal Brujan?
I do.
Nicky Lopez?
They do.
And then you had Castro, and none of them really did much. Santana needs to retire. Rogers, Brazier, didn't do much, I don't think, for anybody. And then Savali, that's a tough one. I mean, how Jed loves to have some extra arms in there. And then Soroka they traded for, but he really didn't do anything for them either. I don't know. The other unrestricted agents are a tougher choice. The biggest one, of course, and we're going to talk about him plenty. Free agency is going to start up right after the World Series, of course, is Kyle Tucker. I don't know. Did you see this? That on Instagram, he removed the Cubs from his bio?
I did.
I mean, that obviously that's not a big deal or anything like that. I mean, that's just what they do, but he's going to be out there. But there's some other guys that obviously aren't, the big free agent, but played critical roles on this team. Caleb Thielbar was signed to a 1-year deal from the Twins. Brad Keller was a non-roster invitee, right? And he probably was one of the most important bullpen pieces the Cubs had. And then Drew Pomeranz, okay? He was probably the most unexpected contributor because of injuries. He had not played a game in the majors, Dustin, since 2021. The Cubs, he had it worked in his contract with the Mariners that if he wasn't called up by a certain date, he'd be able to kind of just jump back into the free agency pool, right?
Right.
And so the Mariners traded Pomeranz to the Cubs for cash. And so when you think about it, whether it's the regular season or the postseason, Keller, Pomeranz, and to a slightly lesser degree, Thielbar were the most trusted arms in the Cubs bullpen, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely correct. Yes, they were.
Now, Thielbar is 38, Drew Pomeranz is 36, and Brad Keller is 30. All right.
And 30's kind of that. 30's kind of sometimes that magic number.
Right. But when you talk about Thielbar, 38 is kind of getting up there, but he's a lefty. And Pomeranz, I mean, like, just the worry about bullpen arms is that they can just be so hit or miss from 1 year to the next. And so, how confident are you in giving Brad Keller maybe a 2 or 3 year deal? How about with Drew Pomeranz? I mean, is he going to try to get, he's not going to want a 1 year deal at his age. He's going to want to see what he can get.
Neither will Thielbar. And the other thing, Crawly, that you wonder about, two things, I guess, because you mentioned it a few minutes ago, and it's all sitting there, a possible work stoppage. So on top of the fact that they're not getting any younger, they could potentially miss a season, 4 months, God forbid, a whole season. And has Pomeranz or Thielbar really ever won anything? And based on what they did last year, would a team be interested in them that was on the verge, maybe a little bit closer than, let's say, they think the Cubs are, right? And so it's so TBD. I mean, I think bullpen guys, unless you are high leverage back, your last 7 outs-ish kind of a guy, you're looking at a 1 year deal if you're a free agent, unless you're like a one of the guys that's going to get one of the last 7 outs of the game. I think you are looking at a 1 year deal. So, I mean, would you want to give any of those guys more than a 2 year deal?
I would think about Keller is the one that most kind of jumps out to me.
And he's what? He's the youngest.
Yeah, he's the youngest at 30.
He's the guy that, maybe he's getting the last out. He did that a couple times at the end, right? Depending on how you look at things. So, yeah, I mean, let's put it, okay, over under one that of those 3 are back.
Over, or I just think the one's going to be back.
One.
I think
okay, so you're going to.
I'm going to go the
2,
under.
Not 2. You go under. So you say 1 for sure, but we can't cut the guy in half. We can't only have his right or his left arm be part of the Cubs. So yeah. It is tricky, and I would love to hear from our Fly the W crew what they think specifically about those 3 guys. Right. And a lot of this has to do with, Crawly, I think when you really break it down, is that labor unknown moving forward. You just don't know what's going on.
Now, there is a third set of players that have options, right?
We've got tiers. We've got tiers here, Crawly. We've got tiers. Yep.
You have the options. So there are players that the Cubs can option. There are options that the players can exercise, or there's the mutual option in which both have to agree to it. And we talked about Shota's wild contract options in the last episode. We talked about, the Cubs can exercise a 3-year option for $57 million.
All right, so that's not going to happen, right? Would you be floored if that happened?
I wouldn't be floored. I think it's a 50-50. I think it's a coin flip. I don't think it's as
wow. You think it's that? I mean, that would knock my socks off. I would be absolutely shocked. Now, if I understand it right, now, like that year, if we miss a year of baseball, God forbid, like he's not going to get that money. If there's a lockout, nobody's getting paid. Like,
right.
Right. The tickets aren't getting paid and the contracts aren't getting paid. So, and he'll be another year older, right? I mean, he's not a spring chicken either.
No, but as far as what a guy like that's worth, and it's just so weird because of recency bias, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the last images you have of Shota Imanaga is turning around backwards and making some goofy face because another guy clubbed one about 420 feet. But and I hate to say, okay, if you take out this or that, but if you take a look from the first pitch he ever threw for the Cubs in a major league game until the month of August, I think you'd say it's a no doubter that you would have exercised this option. But then all of a sudden September happened and he couldn't do anything in the playoffs. And now it's like, okay, we don't need him anymore. And it's like, whoa.
I'm just saying, if you're not going to pitch that guy in the postseason after you advance to the second round of the postseason, why in the world would you give him $57 million? Now, maybe I can see the $15 million because he usually doesn't miss a lot of time, but he's getting older, right? He's getting older. And, we still don't know exactly what was the problem. Right. Is it fixable? Does Tommy think it's fixable? Does Craig think it's fixable? Does Jed think it's fixable? What was the problem? Was he tipping pitches? There was some talk that he was tipping pitches. Now, if he was tipping pitches, that seems like something that you can fix, especially in an off season. But if it was more than that, at his age, might be tough to do.
Was it an injury?
Could have been. Right?
And again, we know what he looks like healthy, right?
Good point, Crawly. Could have been an injury. These are the things that we don't know that they know, right? So, I mean, I would not be surprised that Shota would take a $15 million option.
Well,
that would not surprise me.
Right. If the Cubs decline that 3-year option, then Shota can accept a $15 million option, or he can decline, become a full free agent.
Now, when you say that Shota can accept it, that's, if I'm understanding this right, that's Shota's option, right?
Right.
That's a player's option. So the Cubs wouldn't have a choice at that point. The Cubs
wouldn't have a choice.
The Cubs' choice is 3 years, 57. They know that they put on paper, Shota can say, okay, I wish you would have given me 57, but for right now, I'll take 15. Thank you very much.
Correct. So that would be his counter move. So the Cubs will say either yes or no on this 3-year, $57 million. If they say no, then it goes to Shota and he can opt in for the next year for $15 million for the 2026 season, or he can decline that. And then it actually goes back to the Cubs for a chance to add another 2 years. So it's a complicated.
Yeah, there's all these different little levels to it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
so I think what we're going to see is that 15 million. My best guess. My best guess on it. I would be shocked if he became a free agent.
Now, the other person that we got to take a look at is somebody that Jed got in the trade deadline, and probably, I guess you would say, is his most successful pickup in the trade deadline, Andrew Kittredge.
For sure. I mean, I don't think it's a question. I mean, is there even who would be number two?
It's a small list.
I just say. I mean, give me another name, because I'll tell you who it's not. It's not Willie Castro. Okay, it's not Carlos Santana. It's not Mike Soroka. I mean, maybe no. It's not Aaron Savant. No, it's nobody. It's him. Period. Full stop. Well, Andrew Kittredge. Period.
Kittredge the Cubs can exercise a 1-year, $9 million option for Andrew Kittredge, or buy him out for $1 million. So if the Cubs say, no, we want to pay you the $9 million, then they're going to give him $1 million to go away.
Right. And now, does somebody else, you think he's a $9 million guy to somebody else?
I think isn't that the going rate roughly for a bullpen arm right about now?
I'd have to do some
$8 to $9 million.
I'd have to do some research. I really would. I think he's right. I think he's right there. But you wonder, like, okay, like maybe he doesn't want to move around. Maybe they like Chicago. Maybe they've enjoyed themselves. It's just, I just wonder, like, here's your $1 million, and now let's work something else out.
Yep. And then and now we also have Colin Ray, who honestly I thought he pitched really well. When you talk about guys under the radar that saved this season, Colin Ray's name has got to be on that list.
Got to be on there because, again, he was expected to be in the bullpen, Crawly, right? He was not. How many starts did he make? Probably double what they thought he would make. Probably, if not more.
Oh, he easily did more than what they thought. But
for sure. I'm saying double what they thought. I think he might have done double.
I think the other thing too is just, whether it was in the bullpen, whether it was, it's the outgetter mentality that Craig likes there. So if you're looking in the regular season, he started 27 games, Dustin, and appeared in 32. So that is a tremendous amount there. Here's the issue with Colin Ray. They can pick up his option, $6 million, or buy him out for $750,000.
So what do you do there? I mean, again, assuming you're keeping Shota, would you rather have Shota or would you rather have Colin Ray? Because Colin Ray doesn't seem like a bullpen guy to me. Well, unless it's like a mop-up bullpen guy. I'm saying Colin Ray doesn't seem like one of the guys that's getting your last 9 outs. I'm not saying he can't do it. But I'm just saying, like, prototypical. He's not the last 9 out group. He's more like our starter only went 4 1/3. So we're building a bridge, trying to cross our fingers and our toes to get to one of those last 9 out guys.
And the other thing to kind of keep in mind here is that what Javier Assad can do, but Javier Assad wasn't healthy.
Right.
And so that's what makes it tricky, but $6
and,
million.
And are we definitely convinced that Justin Steele will be all set, ready to go? Is Cade Horton?
He's not going to be ready on day one. He's
right.
not
So
going to be ready on day one.
These are things, right? These are things that are important when you're making these kinds of decisions. So that's why this is really interesting. This is not just cut and dry.
No, and except I got this one cut and dry. Justin Turner, mutual option with the Cubs for 2020. Both sides agree he comes back for $10 million. If either side declines, he gets $2 million.
That's a nice $2 million party. It must be nice to get $2 million. And listen, if he wants to stick around in the organization, fantastic, right? Does he want to be, an extra hitting coach? Does he want to mentor? Do they like Chicago? I mean, he's made a boatload of money in this game, right? I mean, I don't think he's playing anymore. I don't think anybody's signing him. I think he's done.
You think he's done?
Yeah. Don't you?
These guys, Dustin, it's hard sometimes to hang it up. And a lot of these
guys,
but I mean, you can
live
late,
the
right?
you right, for sure. But I think it's interesting when you say it's hard to hang it up. Is it hard to hang it up because you're not playing, or is it hard to hang it up because of the lifestyle? And what I mean by the lifestyle is being in the clubhouse, the camaraderie, the road trips, the per diems, going in and out, sleeping in good hotels, flying on nice airplanes. Is that the part that's hard to give up? That lifestyle, right? Now he could still do that as a coach or a member of the organization. There's a lot of guys in that dugout, Crawly. Now you study this, you look at it a lot deeper than I do, because I don't talk about, and we don't even talk about it on the podcast. I think you're more interested. When they hit a home run, when the Cubs hit a home run, and Taylor McGregor's in the dugout, and they got the camera from Marquee following it. There are a lot of guys I have no idea who the hell they are, what the hell they do. Okay. And one of those guys next year could be Justin Turner.
Yeah. I mean, I think he had a good relationship with a lot of the players. I think, but
yeah, I think his teammates love him. I think Jed loves him. I think Craig loves him, but not enough to be a guy. Not especially not 10 million. Not for 10 million. Now, Crawly, rip it up and come back for 5. Sure, it's not my money, right? I mean, if you could tell me that we are going to use this guy, to hit a lefty in the 8th or 9th inning as a pinch hitter, okay, fine by me. I'm fine with that. I don't need a Miguel, a Brujan that's going to maybe pinch run. I personally would rather have Justin Turner's bat than Brujan to be a pinch runner.
It all depends on what your team is kind of made up of and who's on your bench. And I feel like for the Cubs, the bench was a little bit of a weakness this year, to be honest with
you. Yep, it could be better.
Spot,
it could be better. Yep. Other than catcher,
it never really, to me, kind of rolled. Yeah, I thought the catcher, they did well, but everything else. But it's looking at these things and trying to figure out where you can get better. And if you're asking me, like, okay, well, if you're going to take that money, and get Colin Ray as opposed to keeping Justin Turner, I would rather probably do that, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, what about the guys, Crawly? What about the guys that are going to? So we talked about those guys. What about the guys that their contracts wrap up after 2026?
Well, that's where it gets tricky. And so Jed talked a little bit about this as far as the extensions and when you're looking at this, who you have under control and who you're going to lose after the 2026 and what that's going to look like. I
hope an expectation is that we'll have extension talks with a number of our players this offseason. My hope and expectation is that you never find out about it. That's kind of what I would say. But yes, I think that we have a number of players that we'd love to sort of keep long term, and we'll have those conversations. And like using the Pete example, I love if those don't get out, I think that we have clean books going forward. We have good players, and we'll have those conversations.
So these are the guys that are gone after 2026, no longer under contract, become free agents. Seiya Suzuki, Jameson Taillon, Ian Happ, and Nico Horner. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 out of your starting lineup right now. You put Kyle Tucker in there, that's 5.
Mm-hmm. And it was good. I mean, it's good planning. I mean, Jed lined this up pretty good.
Right. Matthew Boyd, Carson Kelly have mutual options. So both parties have to agree after 2026. So, I mean, now you add Carson Kelly to that mix. It's tricky. And so when you talk about extensions, are you talking about one of those guys like Seiya, Jameson, Ian Happ, Nico Horner? I mean, Ian Happ, if you look at his tenure and how long he's been a Cub, I mean, that's since 2017. I mean, from breaking into the majors, I mean, the Cubs drafted him. And so when you take a look at all the years he's been with the team, is he someone you want? But, obviously Jed didn't do that for, say, like Rizzo or something like that, or Chris Bryant, obviously wouldn't cost as much as, say, Chris Bryant or Javi ended up, those contracts. But I don't know if you want to extend those guys or if he's really focusing on the younger guys. Justin Steele, you don't have for too much longer. He's going to be free agent eligible soon. And then you got Bush, PCA, Cade Horton, Matt Shaw, and to a lesser degree, Amaya Assad and Ben Brown. But the question when you're talking about extensions, we know that Bruce Levine's been reporting about PCA and different numbers going around and stuff like that. But I mean, and I don't know if they would do a Michael Bush extension, because by the time he hits free agency, he's a first baseman that's going to be in his 30s, right?
That's right.
So I don't know about him. I think, when you look at it, PCA, Matt Shaw, Cade Horton are guys that you would say, okay, maybe they would entertain some sort of extension talk. But let's just say this group right here, Seiya, Jameson, Ian Happ, Nico Horner. Do you think he wants to extend any of those 4?
Well, I would think, Nico, right? And again, a lot of this too also, Crawly, again, goes back to, we don't know what's going on with the collective bargaining agreement. Right. We don't know, but I say with or without knowing, I think you could start doing something with Nico.
Okay.
That to me, what do you, could you, okay. How about this? Let's really go crazy. I while we were talking, you probably know this off the top of your head, but one of the guys not mentioned, that core group of guys ending in after 2026 is Dansby Swanson. He's on the books until 2029, Crawly.
Correct.
Making north of $28 million a year. Is there any chance somebody would be desperate enough to trade for Dansby Swanson? that look on your face was priceless.
No, I don't. Not unless the Cubs plan on eating a significant portion of the contract.
And then my
I guess.
point is like moving Nico to short, moving Shaw to second, getting a thumper at third. You know what I mean? Now I'm playing all kinds of musical chairs. I'm playing armchair GM.
Well, here's the thing about Dansby. He has a full no trade clause. So especially if Mallory,
yeah, and they're having a baby, right? And
right,
or they
that
had a
to me is
baby,
hard.
whatever. I know they're either they had a baby or they're close to having a baby. And obviously she's playing with the Red Stars, so that's what she does professionally from a sports standpoint. So that's tricky, man. That's tricky.
I don't see it happen, but these are all things, like I said, we're going to keep looking at and talking about. But I mentioned an extension for, I don't think it's going to happen for Cade Horton, but we are still we talked before about awards given out last time we were on this podcast. How about Cade Horton? Now, the sporting news is obviously it's not the MLB Rookie of the Year, but the sporting news has their awards, and they gave Cade Horton the NL Rookie of the Year. And so we talked about the fact that he's got a good chance of being Rookie of the Year this year. He's got some, we'll see what happens, but I think that's a good start when other people are giving him Rookie of the Year. That increases his chances of being the NL Rookie of the Year through MLB.
I agree totally. I think there's a good chance of that.
Now, the other thing that happened is that the 20th Annual Fielding Bible Awards, this is just for fielding, okay? And if you take a look here, first baseman Matt Olson wins that, but the Cubs' very own Nico Horner wins it for second base. Now, this is AL and NL. It doesn't matter. They don't separate it. It's just best defensive player at each position. So Olson first base, Nico Horner second base, Ke'Bryan Hayes third base, which is why Matt Shaw's not going to get it. Mookie Betts shortstop. And then when you talk about Stephen Kwan left fielder, Cedeno Rafael center fielder, Fernando Tatis Jr. right fielder, Patrick Bailey catcher, and Max Fried pitcher. When you look at it, the defensive player of the year, according to the Fielding Bible, and this is 100% nothing but stats here, Patrick Bailey, catcher for the Giants. But for the first time ever, they had an all defensive team of the year, and that was won by the 2025 Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, very good. Real quick, could we go back to the catching position for a second?
Yes.
Miguel Amaya will be back, right? All indications are he will be back.
Oh, yeah.
Do they have a trade? Do they have a trade chip? Because Carson Kelly's under contract, right?
Right, but you wonder how much Carson's bat kind of struggled because of the amount he had to catch. But
again, like catching is like premium, and there are not a lot of good catchers out there.
I don't see Miguel Amaya being able to, fetch a lot just because he hasn't been able to put up numbers and stay healthy.
No, but I'm saying it could. What could you get for Kelly?
I don't think it'd be worth it right now with the relationship he has.
Well, eventually you're not going to be able to have Reese McGuire, Carson Kelly, and Miguel Amaya.
Well, the goal is to have Carson Kelly and Miguel Amaya. That was the goal last year,
and obviously by Ballesteros, but that's another whole thing.
That's
right. I just want to get your thoughts on that.
One more thing to keep in mind, though, is again, center fielder Cedeno Rafael wins it, not PCA. And so when we're talking about predictions for Gold Gloves, it wouldn't shock me. Now, obviously, it's divided NL, AL, but it wouldn't shock me if Bailey wins it for catcher, Matt Olson wins it for first, Nico for second, Ke'Bryan Hayes at third. Now, that still means PCA can win it at center field. But I was hoping that PCA might win a platinum glove, and I don't know if Cedeno Rafael might take that, or again, it might be Patrick Bailey, it might be Nico Homer who wins a platinum glove. We'll kind of see how that all plays out.
Did guys get nominated for Silver Slugger? Is that something? How does that work? Remind me.
Yeah, we do have Silver Sluggers as well, and so when we talk about the Silver Slugger, that is for the best hitters in their position, and so that's just the opposite
of what we're talking about right now.
Right. Opposite of fielding. So when you take a look at the finalists, this is where it gets a little bit annoying. When you talk about Cubs, Nico Horner, Silver Slugger. So you're talking about extending him. When you're talking about outfielders, the Cubs have PCA and Kyle Tucker. So three guys that are going to be Silver Slugger nominees. And then for the team, it's the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Chicago Cubs, and the Dodgers for Silver Slugger. So, as crazy as this season was, the Cubs are being recognized a lot here. The only thing that bothered me about the Silver Slugger is that I think Michael Busch should have been on there. And I think he just keeps getting screwed because of the whole platooning crap.
Right.
I thought he was a better hitter statistically than Matt Olson. When you look at Freddie Freeman, there's arguments to be made. I mean, it's a tough list. It's a really good position when you look at sluggers right there. But I think that Michael Busch, when you just look at numbers, again, if you did it similar to the fielding Bible and just looked at nothing but stat lines, you could easily have Michael Busch up in there. So hopefully he gets that chance.
This is the Fly the W podcast. It is episode number 63 of season number 4, which Cubs will return in 2026. Of course, we are part of the Blue Wire Network. And don't forget to listen, download, review, subscribe to us, the Fly the W podcast. 5-star reviews, we'll take it. You can email us at crawlysclubhouse@gmail.com. Don't forget, you can watch us on Crawly's Clubhouse YouTube page. When the Cubs, Crawly, were eliminated from the NLDS, you think that was the end of Cubs baseball. Oh, not so fast, our friends. There is Cubs baseball being played in the Arizona Fall League. And in this segment, Crawly is going to talk to Jim Callis, senior writer for MLB Pipeline, to talk about some of the Cubs prospect turning some heads in Mesa.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He knows his stuff. He's been out to the Arizona Fall League, and you were asking about catcher, Dustin. There's a very interesting, obviously he's not close yet, but there's an interesting catching option that's also a switch hitter. So if you want to see that interview with Jim Callis, jump on the Crawly's Club YouTube channel at 6 p.m. Central.
All right, that's must catch stuff. Great job, Crawly. This is the Fly the W podcast. We are part of the Blue Wire Network. It is season 4, episode 63, which Cubs will return in 2026. Been a lot of interesting news around baseball, Crawly, since the last time we talked. And I mentioned as we got things started that we are on the verge of game number 4 out in LA. The Dodgers have a 2-1 lead, and they played 2 games last night in LA, but it only counted for 1.
I think this postseason has just been phenomenal for baseball. I've really just had a lot of fun watching it. I wish the Cubs were still in it, obviously, but if you just love baseball, I said Dodgers in 6, but I was a little bit waffling just because I knew it wasn't going to be a cakewalk. And I think that this has so far been an incredible battle. This is what you want to see in a World Series. 2 heavyweights slugging it out. Stars everywhere doing amazing things. It's been a lot of fun, Dustin. And when you looked at game 1 in Toronto, the Dodgers jumped out to an early 2-0 lead against 22-year-old Trey Yesevich, who he's the second youngest pitcher to ever pitch in a game 1 of a World Series ever. And I just think it's so interesting that, think about the guts it takes to give the kid that ball for a game 1. 22 years old.
Yep. And he did a nice job.
Right. He gave up 2 runs against the Dodgers, but the Toronto was able to tie it up on a Dalton Varsho 2-run blast. And then the Blue Jays hung a 9 spot, Dustin, 9 times.
9 times is a good line for this World Series. 9 times.
Blake Snell and the Dodgers pen gave up 9 runs, the 3rd most runs in a World Series innings. 2 teams had a 10-run inning in 1920 and 1968. Addison Barger hit a grand slam, the first grand slam in franchise history in the World Series, and the first pinch-hit grand slam in World Series history, Dustin. Think about, to me, that is just amazing. And I had to bring this up here because of my guy. This is from Sarah Lang, Slangs on Sports. Postseason pinch-hit grand slams. There's only been 4 of them. 2025 World Series Game 1, Addison Barger. My guy, 2016 NLCS Game 1, Miguel Montero. I was at that game, shook Wrigley to its foundation. And then 1999 ALCS Game 4, Ricky Ledee hit a home grand slam. And in 1995 NLDS Game 3, Mark Lewis did. All but Ledee's were against the Dodgers. So 3 of the 4 pinch-hit grand slams have been against the Dodgers. What are the odds?
That's kind of odd, right? That's really
Baseball,
it's really interesting. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Dodgers,
very, very interesting there.
The Dodgers once again jumped out to an early lead in game 2 of the first inning. RBI single by Will Smith. Blue Jays answered in the bottom of the third with an Alejandro Kirk sac fly. It stayed 1-1 until the 7th inning when Will Smith got jiggy with it. He had a solo home run. Max Muncy added a solo shot of his own. The Dodgers scored 2 more in the 8th to make it a 5-1 ball game. And that was plenty of runs for Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Oh, yeah.
Dustin, this is where I get mad. I just sit there and I look at guys like Yamamoto. I look at guys like Shohei Ohtani, and I was just how bad I wanted them. And it's just like, ugh.
Yeah, but let's remember, okay, and I don't disagree with you, but I just want to, before everybody, Cubs are being cheap, this, that, or the other thing, like the rules are not correct. The rules are unfair, and I think this is going to be one of the major, if not the biggest, sticking point with the CBA. You know, this deferred money stuff is out of control.
So the deferred money, yes, absolutely on Ohtani, but no excuse on Yamamoto. That's just what I'm going to say. He was the first pitcher with consecutive complete games in a postseason since 2001. Curt Schilling.
Well, maybe Shohei did a better job of recruiting than Shota did. I don't know, right? I mean, listen, it seems like they want to either go to LA or they want to come to the Cubs.
Well, we'll
Japanese
see.
Baseball players.
Curt Schilling in 2001 with the Diamondbacks, 3 state complete games. I mean, think about that, Dustin, 3 straight. Yeah. It was the first World Series complete game since 2015. Game 2, Johnny Cueto, remember him with the Giants?
I do.
And then the first pitcher with multiple complete games in a postseason since 2014, Madison Bumgarner, also with the Giants. And Dustin, that took us to game 3. And I tell people sometimes, imagine showing somebody their first game. Imagine if last night that was the first game someone ever watched. Now, first off, they have to be able to have a lot of time on their hands because that game was 6 hours and 39 minutes. Dustin, how long did you stick with it?
I did not see Ohtani tie it. I think I might have had a heart attack had I seen him tie it. The fact that they pitched to him in that situation, I might have fired my manager.
On the spot?
He would not have worked. He would not have worked game 4 tonight. I don't under. And then, you know, skipping ahead, Crawly, they then walked him 4 consecutive times intentionally.
Yeah, I think at that point you had to do that at that point.
And I don't think he sees another pitch in this series. I think he gets 4 fingers the rest of the way.
I mean, look, the Dodgers have such a great lineup. I understand not wanting to put him on, but basically he has given them absolutely
make
no
them
choice.
Now make them adjust and don't have him lead off. I think it's a mistake that he leads off. I don't know why he doesn't bat 3rd or 4th in that lineup. You know, how many solo home runs has he hit?
I mean, it's been unbelievable. And again, we talked about him reaching base 9
times.
4 extra base hits, 2 doubles, 2 home runs, and then 5 walks in a row, 4 of them intentionally.
Come on, really? Come on.
I mean, that to me is absolutely just bizarre. And again, only one other player has had 4 extra base hits in a World Series game. That was 1906 when it was the Cubs versus the White Sox.
Crazy.
Absolutely
crazy.
I sit there and I think about that. But when I take a look at all the awesome plays that you watched in that game, when that inning that Vladito had, where he just made the incredible play to throw out the runner at 3rd, and then he ran around the bases. I mean, it was just such a wild game. That when he was able to run around and he tapped home plate. I'm like, there's no way that this guy's going to be able to make it from first to home on a single. Now, it took a funky ricochet, right? Took a funky ricochet, but that was unbeliable. But
he still moved, man. He still moved, yeah.
The way that the defense, the home runs, the everything. How about Mark Wagner? All I could think about was either Lou Piniella yelling at his face or Hawk Harrelson.
Hawk. All right, I think Hawk immediately. Wagner.
Yeah.
You gotta be bleeping me, Wegner.
I just sat there and I'm watching the game and I'm going like, thank God this challenge system. God, I just want to slap anybody that doesn't agree that the challenge system shouldn't be there.
Yeah, but still, it's going to be funky. It's not like it's every play, Crawly. It's not like it's not like every play is available to you.
No. But it's the challenge on the balls and strikes because it was ball 4. So there was a ball it was a clear ball 4, and he didn't really call it loudly, and the hitter looked back, and then he kind of tossed it like he's going to walk to first. I mean, so it looked like he walked. And then Bo Bichette starts walking to second, and they throw him out at first. I mean, it was such an egregiously bad call, Dustin, that everyone was confused.
They warned us before the game. They mentioned before the game, one of the pre-games I was watching, I don't know if it was Fox or the 4-letter network, that talked about that Wegner is definitely a batter's kind of umpire.
No doubt about it, but this was such a poorly missed call that to me is just ridiculous. And so there was that. How about the fact that they showed it a lot on the TV, that you got to see that it was years and years ago, that I forget what year it was, but it was Clayton Kershaw facing off against Max Scherzer. And it was originally, the game was supposed to be, it was like the game of the week, and Vince Scully was calling it. And it was supposed to be Randy Johnson versus Greg Maddux. And Randy Johnson had like 297 wins. He's getting closer to 300. And they bumped both starters. And they basically put these two young guys that no one had heard of, Clayton Kershaw and Max Scherzer. What are the odds that the two of those guys get back in the World Series and face each other all these years later? Mm-hmm. And so, Dustin, I am all about not having the ghost runner in postseason baseball, but this is why you got to do it in regular season. I don't know how the Dodgers or the Blue Jays are going to be able to play this game. I don't know how this is all going to work. And Dustin, I mean, you're more of a gambling guy than I do. I don't know if you would bet the over. I don't know if you'd bet are they tired, or are you worried that there's just going to be a lot of bad arms in there and that the balls are going to be getting crushed? I have no idea how you can do this, how this is going to play out.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting. I mean, do you let Ohtani go as long as he possibly can? Because, you probably wouldn't go to Ohtani again unless it was a game 7, correct? So if assuming that he's not getting rocked or anything like that, do you just let him go and go and go and go and go?
They used 19 pitchers yesterday, Dustin.
Right.
19. And again, not everybody pitched a full inning, but I'm just looking at this, and I'm glad I'm not managing this game. That's all I'm saying, because this is going to be a game right here. This is such a crucial game, and I don't know. You're going to have to go with Ohtani as long as you can.
Right. What was interesting is What was interesting is the skipper for the Blue Jays, who I would have fired, by the way, after game number 3, mentioned that, and I did like this comment from him though. He said, "Listen," he said, "the Dodgers won game 3. They didn't win the World Series. We're going to find out tonight. We're going to find out in a couple hours if that's accurate or not, because how the Jays bounce back will be very, very interesting." Just since you asked, Crawly, the total tonight is 8, and the Dodgers are minus 200. So, I mean, you have to bet 200 to win 100. I would bet, if I was betting on this game, if you made me make a bet on this game, I would bet over 8 runs.
Over 8 runs, you would bet?
I would bet over 8 runs because of what you said. The Dodgers might score 8 runs. The Dodgers might score 8 runs tonight.
That was a late game. Do you wonder? I just wonder if they even had the players come in today. Like, if you were the managers, say, everyone, you know what? Don't come here for any practice at all. Like, just literally.
Oh no, it's like what do they call that? American Legion.
American Legion.
American Legion, right? Yeah. If you want to, right, that's what they called it, right? American Legion Day or whatever. If that's what Joe Madden used to call it all the time. So if you want to come in, we obviously will be here for you, but you don't have to come. Totally agree. All right, Crawly,
I'm going to watch tonight, and I'm going to be interested.
Yeah, you should be interested. Everybody, don't forget, 6:00. Crawly's got an interview here with Jimmy Callis. That's something you're not going to want to miss. We're wrapping this one up. Don't forget to listen, download, review, subscribe to the podcast. Email us your thoughts, questions, crawlysclubhouse@gmail.com. Watch us by subscribing to Crawly's Clubhouse on the YouTube channel. And Crawly will be back with everybody really soon. Hopefully it won't be too soon unless there's some great Cubs news. But, it's kind of a moratorium on things until 5 days after the World Series. But let's not rush this too quick and have the last game of the World Series.
No, and again, my good friend Scott Nelson says Ghost Runners, never. Not a fan of Ghost Runners, but hey, you know what? Let's see what there's going to be no Ghost Runners tonight. Let's see if it goes extras again. And hopefully everybody that stuck around had plenty of coffee this morning, but excited to hear about some of these young Cubs coming up. Go Cubs!
It's all over.